Hello, good afternoon. This is Kristen from the Online Selling Show, and I am here with a expected, unexpected, however you want to say it, estate sale shopping trip. I had this sale on my radar. I was looking forward to going all week. They have a lot of vintage Christmas that was there. And it's a sale, it's a company that I shop with quite frequently. But I'm gonna be honest, I got down to the point last night where I needed to start prepping, taking the shower, setting the alarm, getting everything together to get ready to be up that super, super early that I like to do. And I just was not feeling it. I was at that low point where it was like, oh my Lord, you have so much already. How much more do you need to get? You have to get listed what you already have. All them conversations were going through my head. And I just didn't feel like it. So I didn't get up super early. I did get up. I have a migraine, and it was not really one of them days where I was motivated to get out of the house. Well, now it's 1 o'clock, and I'm going out to do my tea run, and I thought, why not? I really decided I'm gonna kind of just take a leisurely day anyway. So let's get there. As I mentioned, they have a lot of vintage Christmas. This is a sale company that will only take cash. I have $20 on me right now. So I think I'm going to challenge myself to only finding the gems that I'm going to get in my $20 budget. Let's see if I can do it. My only caveat I'm putting out there now is if I get there and she has some phenomenal stuff, and then I may have to hit the ATM. But I would think by this point, those phenomenal things, or phenomenal, would be gone by now. So let's go and let's see. So we have arrived here, and of course I had to park around the corner because there was no parking, and now there's plenty of parking right up front. Oh well, that's the way that mop flops, is that what they used to say? Um, we have about an hour and 15 minutes before this sale closes. Doesn't look like there's much activity anymore, but let's see. When I went to go inside, I realized they had a very large enclosed porch, and they had several things that were put out there for the sale, as well as the woman holding the register. One of the things I wanted to look at were these frames, and I noticed as I was picking the stuff up that we've had days of rain now, and the stuff out there kind of is holding in the dampness now. I looked around. There was a set of dishes that I believed had been like china or something, like more like ceramic from the pictures they posted online, like these dishes here. And I realized they were melamine and they were from like Big Lots. I was assessing, was there any of the vintage stuff I wanted out here? Quickly determined it was not, and started to head inside. I'm going to speed this up slightly. The sale, when I saw the advertisement, had quite a few vintage Christmas, and I'm looking around when I go in trying to figure out where the stuff was. There's a lot of tools and household, like cleaners and stuff when I first went in. When you go into the kitchen, there is a set of Fire King bowls here that I was thinking about picking up for my aunt, but she wanted $5 a bowl. I then briefly go into the one room which seems to be the dining room. I look around. There is nothing in there that I knew I had on a target list, and I head in the other direction. When I start to go into this room, there's a table with these angels, and on there are these beautiful angels. One I pick up, she wants $8 for it. The other one I pick up is $6, and it has no wings. I realize that these are not going to be anything I can resell. I start to move on, and I get to this table that they had in the center of the room. The tables where quite a few of the things were that I knew I wanted to target, but when I get there and I find that the ornaments in the box, she's asking anywheres from $40, $50, or $60 for these items, that this is not my expectations from her. Usually she's about $2 an ornament. The stocking there was beautiful. She wanted, I think, 12 for that. The satin ornaments, unless they're a really desirable shape, I wasn't interested in those, and she was selling them for the whole thing. I did briefly look under the table. that's coming up, I believe, after this. And there was nothing of any value under the table. It was almost nothing. There was a few things of ceramics that I had wanted, and I looked around. I didn't see any of those. There was a couple women looking at the jewelry. Making my way to the end of the table where she's got a box of loose ornaments. Usually those are $1 or $2. She's got them marked at $4. I kind of go through those briefly, trying to see if there's anything that is really desirable, and there is nothing. I'm starting to kind of look around, see what else is around, listening to people talk, because they're having the same opinions as me about her pricing. I've shopped with her numerous times now, and this is surprising to me. Her pricing was nowhere in the ballpark as to where she had been before. I'm still going through these ornaments, trying to assess if there's anything of value, and I don't see anything. There's the tinsel tree she wants $400 for. This tree topper, I don't even see that she's got a price for it. I then catch my eye gets caught with this nativity. I'm looking to see if there's any value in that, and when I bring it out and I look at the bottom, it's made in China, which tells me this is a more modern piece. I put that back. Also looking around in this area, beyond just where I was standing, there was a basket down there. There's a gentleman there looking through right around. There's a basket of greeting cards. She had some really nice vintage greeting cards, but she wants $3 a piece for them. I'm trying to catch, but there was so much also of memorabilia for the sports that was mixed in. I'm going to head back now towards the other side of the table. That pillow I probably should have looked at with the angel tapestry on it. I'm looking around. There was some things that were in the jewelry section that had caught my eye. There were some sequined pins, like brooches, but I don't see them in there. While I'm in there, the lady is commenting to me how a lot of the pieces are mismatched. There's one point in here where a lady had taken some bobby pins that had like witch little, I don't know, like these iconic metal pieces on the end of them. And she brings them back with another pin and puts them down and said they wanted $10 for each of the bobby pins. That's how ridiculous some of the pricing on this stuff was. I am not a big jewelry aficionado. I don't really know a whole lot about it. I'm just looking for anything that is obvious coming out. Going back just to give another glance to those ornaments, I really did want them. Start looking down the one hallway now. There's pieces there that don't have pricing on it. There was a mailbox in there that is flocked that seems kind of desirable. These catch my eye only because I've picked these up. I picked the smaller one up, brand new in a package at an estate sale for $2. Just kind of, there's the mailbox. That really had intrigued me. I wound up buying that later on the second day, but at this point in time, I put it back. She wanted $28 for that. There is a couple things that are in there that I'm just kind of looking at. Then I start noticing that there's a couple of things on the floor. Nothing there. There are these wall hangings that she wants, I think, $5 for. They were unique. There was something on the back of the door. I think she wanted $8 for that doorknob piece. Go into what's, I guess, the master bedroom, and the bed is filled with about 6 or 8 of these large tubs and then a few separate boxes of things. The box on the one end is nothing but like gift wrapping type of stuff. I start looking into the first tub, and there was a sign on the wall that said loose ornaments were $2. I think wreaths were like $8. And I think something about table runners was like $8 or something as well. I start digging through the box. There seems to be some older pieces in there. And at first I was really hesitant to kind of take anything. But there was like this piece that I took out of there that looks like it goes over a bulb. There was some Santa ornaments in there. And at first, I picked them up, and I'm really debating, because they do look like they could be marketed as a tree topper as well. trying to debate. I know I could sell them for easily $10 to $12 at a minimum. The bird I'm considering because I do have several ladies in my Whatnot show that are always asking about birds, but I would sell it on Whatnot for like $2. I need to pick them up when I can get them for basically pennies on the dollar. And then I thought, well, it is late in the day. Maybe I can group this stuff up and get her to give me a bundle price. I picked this up. There are very vintage birds in there. I'm trying to count because she has some bows that she made there to put on the ends of the branches. And that's what makes me decide that I'm going to go ahead and start a pile and see if I can get her to give me a bundle price. If you look, there's a gold, looks like I'm putting it up there. That is a tree topper with a Santa in it. I think they marked $10 or $12 on the tube for that. When I picked this up, this bag is filled with those foil reflectors that you would put over the old bulbs. I'm digging through the bag because I'm kind of in disbelief that this whole thing is really filled with them. There is no price on them, and this is when I really know that for me, I need to get this pile together because I know that they can sell pretty decent. There is no price marked on it, and I've been putting these things back behind me on a bureau. And my pile is getting to a point now where I'm kind of hiding items underneath of it. And this one here I'm intrigued with because this does plug into a light bulb. So that one would be a lighted tree topper. That was interesting. And I'm going to put these on there. And I realize that there's another couple that has now come into the room and joined me. And I'm going to be basically covering up the stuff that they're probably, here they come, are going to want to be looking at. So as I'm going through this tub, I'm still looking for more of the same, like Santas, the birds, and I do come across a bag, which I am so thankful for because I cannot believe I completely, in my trying to be quick to get in the house, didn't even take a bag in with me. I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm still pulling some more stuff out. There is a candelabra in there that was vintage that probably would have done well. The bottom of it was covered up with the cardboard. The thing that tells me definitely on these older vintage pieces is when they don't have the grounding type of plug on them. That's what I have in my hand right there. I probably should have picked that up, but I did not because at the time I was really unsure of what she's going to do for me. I'm hoping she'll do a bundle price with stuff that just looks to be random miscellaneous stuff. Because again, I only have my $20 to spend here. This is my mission. I probably should have taken these candy canes as well. They were definitely vintage. They were plastic, but I just kind of left them behind. Start going through the second tub. This one has more of the modern stuff. There was the tinsel garland there when I first took it out. This has like shatterproof ornaments in there. Has like that tub from the dollar store with those drums, and I've seen that before. So here's where I'm like, no, not really feeling that. I do go over here and notice this planner, and it had a name brand on it. I think it was Nabco, but when you look at it, it's cracked in the back, and Mary is missing her leg. So I put that down. This other piece here that doesn't even have like a brand attached to it. And I missed that last tub, and I don't realize that until later. I started looking at this one on the floor. This has some more modern type of lights in it, which, again, I don't really want to get into anything with lights. You see they're putting the price on the boxes. I kind of don't like that either. That box of bell ornaments back there, they're asking $3, which is $1 a piece for those. And again, I'm just not feeling this whole thing. There's a few satin balls there, but again, they're more reproduction. And I'm digging through, and this is where I'm still finding all this stuff in here is just light strings. Some of which may be new, but for the most part, they're all used. I cannot believe I really wanted to go through these as well as I was because I'm looking for the beaded garland and I'm not finding them anywhere. I never can locate any in this house when I was there. This, I think, is where I finally get my bag that I can use to group up everything in. And I still haven't realized I didn't hit that last. Now I go back, I get all my stuff, and start piling it up. I probably should have looked at that clock now in the replay. So I'm going to group everything up in this bag, and then I'm going to start heading over to the other side of the bed. And I mean, that vanity set there, she wanted, I think, $90 for the whole thing. I don't know what that air on the floor was there. Probably should just have edited this out, but here's where, like I said, I'm kind of reassessing. Oh, there was a drawer there. That's what it was. There's a drawer there with some more stuff hanging out of it. And in there, I find this vintage ornament. I don't know if this was made. It's in the old glass glitter. There is some gold trim around it, and I'm trying to get it out of there, but it's hooked on all these pine cones and this other stuff. And it's this blue ornament. It was really, really pretty. I did not see any other ones like that in the house. So now I'm going to make my way back towards the other side of the bed. The Santa up top catches my eye, but there's no name attached to it, and I think she wanted like $20, so it was like, forget that. I'm looking at a few other things that are up there, but honestly, none of this stuff is of any particular brand name, and it's all very overpriced. She does have a tub on the floor that had some paper goods in it. I think I'll look at that in a minute. When I start looking at this one, there is some ornaments in the first box and tub there, but this other box next to it has a lot of these different gift bags, stuff, and things that people would typically think the whole tub is for. But when I get them out of the way, I do realize that there are some boxes of various ornaments down towards the bottom of this tub. When I look through, though, they're very modern in nature. There is nothing that I can do as far as trying to make a bundle or a grouping. Nothing in there. She may have one of this and one of that, so it wasn't even like I could make sets out of anything. So I'll continue to look through that, but I wound up not taking any of that stuff. Some cute ones. I know there was a glittery church in there. I just sold like a grouping of 4 or 3. I think I got it at a yard sale last year. And then start looking at, she's got a lot of these stockings. She's got these handmade crochet placemats and trivets, which honestly I should look them up. I don't know. There's one there, the green. I don't know how much they sell for. I've seen them at some different sales. There is these placemats I wanted picking up. And I also liked these towels. These were older kitchen towels that had apples all over them. That was very intriguing. I wanted those. Wound up putting them into my bundle. The placemats I'm looking for are those navy ones with the Santa on it. But honestly, I only found 3 of them. I was kind of disappointed in that because I wanted to be able to offer them up in a set of 4. They reversed from a Santa scene on one side to ornaments on the other side. It's the first time I've seen a tapestry style placemat like that will do that. I'm finding several more of these vintage kitchen towels, which are very desirable because people are going for this grandma core now, but it's also the absorbency of them does seem to be better made than the ones you're seeing in today's market. I'm still digging through, still trying to count now these, because I can only find 3. I'm having to go piece by piece because I could have swore I had found one by itself, and I can't seem to locate it. Also going through, then I get into the third and final tub. I'm just going to start finding things that are like vintage tablecloths. It's going to have a couple tree skirts. There's a little more stockings in there. I'm going through. I'll find more of those crocheted pieces in there. And unfortunately, I should have been laying them out a little bit more for you to see. But none of the stuff was really desirable. It seemed to be way more modern, like this stocking here. And there was this angel that looked like it was like done with tatting. But then I found it had a price tag on it for Christmas tree shops. So it was hard to determine with her what was really the vintage and what was really the modern. It seemed to be very intertwined. Like I said, there would be stuff from Big Lots in with stuff that could have been from like the 1950s. I'm still looking for that other placemat, and I'm still looking through. I mean, like some of the stuff, if they would let you group up and do cheap, like the tissue paper, I could use that. But her prices really kind of turned me off. I wasn't really sure what to expect. And I just kind of, like I said, made myself a little pile and I just moved on. Here's where I start taking a look around the boxes around that side of the bed. It had a hodgepodge of different stuff. The one, when I get to it, is the paper products I was talking about. Like I said, this is just mixes of stuff. That one there I'm picking up, they want like $4 for that. I can get that during the season for that price. The one box here has a lot of boxed greeting cards and some napkins and plates, but it was nothing that was really old. It was more of the kind found today, and nothing is priced, so I decide to leave that. I look in the master bedroom closet. The clothes are just nothing exciting. I don't know much about clothing anyway. I'm looking around. They did have some of the spun glass type of figures, but that just seems like a shipping nightmare. And I start trying to make my way back out, and I want to get over to the other side of the bed because I realized I missed that tub, and I'm having to wait. There was several people in there. You got my hair now. So I'm trying to wait to get over there, and finally I'm looking at the top of, there was some ornaments there on the top of this one little dresser as I'm waiting, but they look like Lenox, but there is no markings on any of it. And I'm waiting for that final person there to kind of move so I can get over. Like I said, I want to look at that last tub because I'm still in disbelief. She does not have any beads with all of the stuff in this house, and there is none of that. I get over to this last tub, and it's just full of a bunch of different greens, all kinds of miscellaneous stuff. And I'm just, like I said, I'm mainly looking for the beads. And finally, right around now, I do pick up a poinsettia pick that has a made in Hong Kong tag. And that's when I realized that I really need to spend time and go through this. And here's, like I said, where I'm still looking, and I think I pick it up right around here. Here you go. And that's when I realized that I need to look at this. And unfortunately, in my aggressive looking, I take the camera and I don't even keep it on the box. I'm going to cut this off here. So I did find some good things, and if you watch till the end, I'll show you what I got. I'm now making my way out because I want to go look now in the dining room. There was some figurines that were desirable, but I have a feeling they've probably already gone. I know there was a Noel figure that is that I don't see here. I'm missing it, so that must have sold. Oh, I do find something on the floor. I'm looking at this, but it's made from a company I happen to know has not been in business for about 5 to 6 years, and they wanted, I think, $8 or something for that. I briefly looked through the kitchen. There wasn't anything of any high value I wanted out of there. I'm looking around in the dining room. She had a lot of these teacups. There was various different patterns and collections of dishware and silver-plated silver. Not my genre. I don't really know much about all of that. I'm looking to see if these little figurines are in there. I do not see them. And now, this must have been the original part of the house because these 2 bedrooms were kind of cut off from the one behind it. This bedroom, when I go in and I take a look, there's not a whole lot in there. More vintage clothing. I look around, just general household stuff in here. Nothing that's like the little trinkets, or there's some towels and stuff there, but nothing that's kind of like Waverly or something to that like brand name that would make you think it could be desirable. And the prices are on the wall there. I think they were pretty expensive if I was going to think I could get the towels. Again, I'm trying to stick to this $20 budget. going through some different like bedding and stuff. Nothing exciting. Looking around here. I think there's a little pincushion I pick up here. It was like a dog and a cat. That seemed kind of cute, but again, nothing with pricing. I must have picked up everything in this house that did not have pricing. That little frame I probably should have looked at. That was probably cute, but I'm at this point kind of just disappointed. There wasn't a whole lot of treasures, at least not that I'm seeing. You guys can probably see a ton of stuff in here. I do pick this up. This is made out of styrofoam, but it seems to be falling apart. It's a music box, and it does have like some older flocked pieces and stuff on there. It does seem to be pretty intact, although it's kind of like leaning and stuff, but the pieces don't seem to be damaged. I think she wanted 16 for that. Like I said, it looks like it needs some work, so I do put that back. And this piece caught my eye, and then I realized when I pick it up, it is resin. Looked like it was made out of like metal, so that did trick me. Heading back to go out to the other bedroom now. There's a little closet there. I look in there, but just some more generic clothing and stuff. And now I'm going into this back bedroom, or I guess it should be the middle bedroom out of the three. This has more of a mix of stuff in here. There is some wrapping paper, but nothing attractive to that. Here I'm looking at these pieces over here. There's nothing. They're just pieces of cut fabric. Like I said, nothing in here that was really highly desirable or something I had any knowledge of, truthfully. I'm looking around. There was another gentleman in there that seemed to be inspecting some stuff. He seemed a little bit more knowledgeable about some of the stuff around the house. So I'm really just going to start making my way out of this room in a second. Like I said, there's a few different pieces around, but it's weird. It's vintage stuff mixed with, like I said, stuff from Big Lots. I do find, though, on my way trying to get out, are these two little trinkets. They're a turkey and a female turkey, or hen, however you want to say it. And I can't make out a name on them. And I decided to throw them in the bag because, again, I find everything at this sale that has no price on it. So I figure, all right, I'll try those. Honestly, I don't know. I still cannot make out the name that is on. They have a little gold tag. Cannot make out what they are. So I said, well, let's give that a try. Nothing else. Once I found that, I thought, well, maybe I'm missing something else in this room. So I do decide to go back in. So I was starting to make my way out. Now I'm looking around, and of course, no, nothing else of any value. It's just a general mix. I mean, you guys seeing anything? I can't believe how many houses have those Dutch shoes. I just have to say that. I find them at almost every house here. And I'm going to make my way out. At this point, I think I've gotten everything I'm going to be able to pull out of this house. And looking around one last time in the dining room, there's one of her workers. And this is pretty much it. So I'll wrap this up in 1 second. So we're out of there now. And I spent $20. I will tell you, the prices in there were crazy. I got in there and I thought, this is more than I've ever seen her go for. And she's usually middle of the road to higher on some of her prices. I've shopped her many times. And she was the one I got the paper from for the Stamping Up paper in the shopping video at the beginning of the year. Anyway, I got through. I collected up a lot of stuff. I wasn't really sure what the pricing was going to be. I just found a bag there because I forgot to take my own bag in. I don't know why. And I just asked her, can you give me a pricing? And we put everything on the table, and she started adding everything up and told me $35. And I told her, I said, unfortunately, I only brought like 20. Can you give me an idea where your pricing is on some of this so I can make some determinations on what it is I may want to put back? So there was the kitchen towel and bath sets that were going to be $2 for each piece. So that was $8. I told her, I said, I'm not interested in that then. There was one of the ornaments she told me was going to be $4. They considered it vintage. I said, well, I'm not interested in that. Can we just put that back? And then she picked up a few of the Santas that I saw that could either be tree toppers or ornaments. And I said, just take whatever of those until, you feel like this is $20 worth. So we agreed on 20. I asked her for any updates on the paper I use in my card making. That's the Stampin' Up paper. And she said, oh, that lady, she looks like she may actually move now, and it's probably going to be in a state size. So, well, I'm still really interested in a lot of what she had. So, you know, do you have any sales coming up? You know, or can you just text me if you're wanting getting rid of a bulk of that? I'd be interested. And she's, you know, telling me like yes or whatever. And then she threw the Santas back in the bag. And she's like, just Merry Christmas. So the lady and I were, her employee, were putting the stuff in the bag, and she started to walk away, and I was thanking her. And the woman was kind of hesitating over these little trinkets that I had on the table. And she's like, oh no, they're hers. And I was like, oh, okay, good, you know. So I paid, I left. And now I'm going to show you what my $20 got, because this was a challenge. I was going to do a different video of what did I buy and why did I buy it, but I realized I got to show you what I got for my $20 if this is going to be the challenge, right? So I'll give you an idea what I got. I will tell you some of these items I'm going to turn over as soon as I can, get back to my home, get the photos. I want to put them in a Facebook group for vintage Christmas stuff, try and turn them over. So the first thing I got were these 3 picks. 2 are these poinsettias. One is the holly. One of them, there was Easter grass in there. It's like Easter grass all over everything. One of them says it's made in Hong Kong. So I think the 3 of these I can easily turn over for 15 in the group. So that's 15. I think I can turn over, I have 3 of these vintage holly leaves, I think are from the same time period. I think I can easily get the 15 for those. So that would be 30. Then there was this item that looks like it came out of probably one of those centerpieces that you would give at that time of the year. I think I can easily get 10, so that should be 40. Then another thing I got was this really long garland. It's got this like chain in it with these poinsettias. I'm gonna try and get 30 for this. So if that's the case, I should be up to 70 to get back for my money, for my $20. Then one item I just kind of threw in. I have a couple ladies that shop for me at my Whatnot shows, and they're always asking for these birds. I know I can get $1 back. So now we're up to 71, right? Another bird I got in there was this one. This is a little bit more modern, but I still think it may be around Y2K era. I think this is still another $1, so up to 72. This was an item that I think is handmade that they were going to charge me $4. I was surprised that this was in the bag. I thought they put this back. I think I'm going to try and get 5 for this. So that should put me at 77. Then I bought this, and it is an old style light cover is what I think it is. I think I can get at least 10 for this. So this should take me up to 87 is what I'm thinking. The other thing I wasn't sure of was this huge stack. These are the reflectors that you would put over the light bulbs back in the old days. There is like star themed ones here and all. I think I'm going to ask at least 30 for this. So that was 87, so we're to 117, I guess. 80, 13, yeah. 117. Then here was the little trinkets that I really was not sure she was going to throw in. I think I can easily get 20 for these. They are really cute. So that should take me to 137 for my $20 investment. I've got 4 different ones of these. Now this one does have a cord, so it will light up. I think I can get, depends on what I do with these. I'm thinking probably, even if I get $5 a piece on my groups, that's another 20. So we're at 157. Is that what it was? Or 147? I don't remember at this point. We're gonna round this off and just say 150. This has 5 of these vintage. They are like a blush pink vintage bird. And they are like so different. And then she also made, it looks like these bows to put on the branches of the ends of the trees. So I think I can easily get, for the 5 of these, probably I may be able to ask, well, even if I get 10, it'll take me to $150 for this bag. So that was my challenge. I think for my $20, I did pretty well. That is the stuff, as I mentioned, I don't think any of that stuff was stuff you would be seeing show up in estate sale pictures. I don't think they're anything people are going to be lining up out front to look and get. And again, I don't know, had I not asked her for bulk pricing, I would have gotten as much as I did. And I think the stuff in there is pretty much looked upon as just being the throwaway stuff. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that. I will try and do a video in several months from now with a post challenge as far as how much all of that does sell for, and give you some results in a couple of months as to how that went. But most of that stuff, I think I'm going to try and turn over into Facebook group in hopefully this next week. So let's cross our fingers, we'll see. Leave some comments and questions down below. By all means, I would appreciate a thumbs up if you got anything good out of that video, and I would really appreciate if you hit the subscribe button and help me grow the channel. So I will be back in the coming months with the results.